So while I take my morning nature walk, look, I'm in a lovely green field here, I thought I'd share a little bit about what's been coming up for a few different people around me. And that is, and it used to come up for me too, and that is our ability to ask for help. And when we're fiercely independent, it's generally because we have put a guard up around ourselves that says, I don't need you, I can do this all by myself. But the truth is that we do need people, and we do need to be able to, well, we don't need to do anything. We have an opportunity to soften into a more loving part of ourselves that says, actually, I welcome help. So where do we ask for help from would be my next question. So I used to be like that. I used to feel like I can do it on my own, and I know from years of research and years of personal practice that it's a trauma response because I'm safer if I do it myself. Then I'm in control. And that whole thing about being in control is interesting because we are in control and we're not in control. So what we are in control of is our inner landscape. What we are in control of is how we then choose through our inner landscape to respond to another. We are in control of, to some degree, our feelings, or at least allowing our feelings not to become our big black holes and to be able to climb out of them. But what we're not in control of on any level is what happens out there, out there in the bigger world. And I also think that in order to be able to really drop into that deeper part of ourselves, we have an opportunity to call on other people. We also have an opportunity to call on the divine. And obviously divinity is what's in charge of everything anyway. We're not. But when we can call in the divine and we also acknowledge our own divinity, our guards drop, and in that place there's softness and kindness and more connection back to me, my heart, my being, my well-being, my soul even. And so what happens to you? Can you drop into softness? What would happen to you if you're one of those people that feels the need to be in control all the time and that can't ask for help? You've isolated yourself from a huge chunk of love, actually, when we do that. And I get it, and I understand why we do it. And it's as I said, it's a trauma response. It's an inner sense of, oh, well, if I control this, I'm safe. If I do this on my own, then I don't need anybody, because at the end of the day, they're going to let me down. So it's about the stories at the end of the day that we've told ourselves that aren't true, because not everybody lets us down. Not everybody abuses us. And, as somebody who's come from a fairly emotionally abusive background, I know that one. I really know that one, but I feel so much better not being in that place. And so I invite you to explore what that might be for you. What does that look like for you if you were to just take a layer of that away from your heart and away from your mind and go, and what's interesting too is that, is that line in the Bible, in giving we receive. So when we give somebody the gift of being able to help us, we receive the help. And isn't that beautiful? In giving we receive. So it's not as I give something to you and then the universe gives back to me, or you give back to me, but it's also honouring another person that says, I'd like to help you, and we say, no, I can do it by myself. That's not very honouring of that other person. And in giving them the opportunity to support us, you don't even know what you're doing for them, because people want to help. I think generally people do want to help, and oftentimes they don't know how to. They don't know how to approach you, especially if you've got those huge guards up. So how about softening into it? How about honouring them as a way of receiving? Another way of looking at it. And I tell you, your heart starts to soften and everything gets easier.